Welcome to Tiny NH House. So I brought my smaller canoe up this trip. I'm going to try and get down on the lake this week. It's funny, I've been working on this project since 2015, and one of the reasons I bought the property was because there was a lake close by, and I have not been out on the water yet, so we are going to try and fix that this week. Well, I made it out on the lake for the first time. It's a beautiful day up here. And I was trying to take pictures of the scenery and not all the boats over there. So, I got one small problem. This canoe is leaking like a sieve. When I got in here, I felt water by my feet, which was fine because my boat shoes got wet when I got in. But now the water's up to my knees. So we've got a problem here. I can't go very far at all. Don't want to risk this. And then when I get back, I'll have to see if I can find where the leak is. Well, even with a leaking canoe, it's a beautiful day up here. And it's nice to be on the water finally. So I found the leak and made a quick field repair. We'll see how this holds up, because I want to get back on the lake. I'm not panning, the boat's panning. So, not too many boats out today. Nice day on the water. Love the shadows of the clouds up on the mountains. That island there, I stopped and had lunch, had a sandwich in the lee of that island. Those are the ledges. The road going by there goes down to exactly 2 lanes. No other space for anything else. Very narrow. It's pretty cool. So I don't know if you can see it there, but that's a beach in the town next to mine, which is on the lake, and it's a state park, so you can go there and swim and do your boating at the boat ramp. Very nice. So this is why I don't see many power boats coming through this little passageway here, with the rocks coming out all the way on the left hand side. Nice spot for a canoe. So my canoe has what's known as a saddle. That's the seat in the middle. This is a whitewater canoe. It's meant for use on rivers, and it turns quickly. And what the idea of the saddle is, you become part of the boat. You sit low in the seat, and you can wrap your knees under those 2 wings in the front there, and you can grab the saddle between your legs to make you part of the boat and to make things more maneuverable. But since I don't do whitewater anymore, this saddle is in the way when I put it up on top of the Jeep. I can't get in the middle of the boat. I can't get the boat up on my shoulders from the middle. So I think I'm going to take the saddle out, and I'll just leave the thwarts there. And then I can pick the canoe up, resting on my shoulders, and carry it over next to the car, and then just push it up onto the roof racks. It'll also reduce the weight. I don't know how much that weighs, but it'll definitely reduce the weight of the boat. And the nice thing about it is it's got this door hatch in front, so you can store things inside and keep them dry. But I have a dry bag for that anyway. So I got some more tongue and groove delivered today. I'm bringing it down into the basement now. Keep it nice and dry out of the weather. This is where I store it, on the bottom there on the right. And then as I stain it, I put it in those racks to dry. I had to rush because a shower came through, and I had, I think, 5 boards. Got a little bit wet, but they should dry off fine, and then I'll stack them up again. So, this was the wood that last video I said that my supplier didn't have any stock of. So I went down this morning to check again, and I talked to one of the owners, and it turns out they had it all along. They had 8,000 linear feet of it. The person I talked to 3 weeks ago just wasn't familiar with the product code. So I got 280 linear feet delivered today. The price was a little bit higher, maybe about 1/3 higher than what I bought before. But I'm just buying it a little at a time as I need it, so we'll spread out the cost swings over time. Hopefully, by the time I need the next batch, prices will have come back to normal. My son was home last week visiting, so one day I brought him up to show him the cabin. It was his first time up here. And while he was here, I got him to help me put up my second solar panel. So now I have 530 watts of panel set up. These were, or the second panel was kind of difficult to put up just because there's no space between the panels, or there's very little space. So I couldn't get a drill bit in between there. So we marked the location of the holes and then slid the panel to the side while my son held it, and I drilled the holes. And then we slid it back and were able to put the bolts in with a extension on a ratchet drive, so that bringing the bolts home was no problem. So that second one's installed. Today's project is to run my 24 volt wire from the batteries through a circuit breaker over to a 24 volt to 12 volt step down transformer, which is what this is. And I'm going to mount that about halfway down the cabin. I'm going to end up with a 24 volt battery system because I bought a 24 volt pure sine wave inverter. So the batteries are going to be hooked up for 24 volts. That will also reduce the line loss by going with 24 volts as opposed to 12. So I'm going to use this 10 gauge wire here to run, and this is my circuit breaker that I'll put in. Also, the charge control I have at 12 volts, it will handle about 450 watts of power from the solar panels. But at 24 volts, it'll handle about 550 watts of power. So with my additional panel now, I've got 530 watts. So I'm going to need to run the batteries at 24 volts anyway to use that charge controller. So that's why I'm running the 24 volt line. The transformer, step down transformer, is in place, and where that wire is going, that's actually the wire to my water pump. The 12 volt feed will go up through that hole to my DC switches, which will be in that wall cavity. So this will power those with 12 volt DC. And then I will probably have another breaker box right here for 12 volt circuits for outlets. I'm going to have outlets in the wall where people can plug in a 12 volt lamp or plug in their cell phone to charge, that type of thing. So now I got to run the wire to this. Now I'm putting in the circuit breaker for the 24 volt line. So these are DC breakers and they have a polarity to them. And I don't know if it comes out, but there's a plus in the bottom. So this wire, bottom wire, runs over to my battery bank to the positive terminal of that. And then the wire that will come out the top of the circuit breaker, this wire here, this will run over to the positive terminal of my transformer, step-down transformer. So it's just important to keep in mind that these breakers do have a polarity to them because they're DC, and you want the higher voltage onto the positive terminal of the breaker. So that's why it's hooked up this way. Here you got the black wires for the 24 volt line come out onto the battery box. I have lugs for the wires for 8 gauge, but I don't have for 10 gauge. So I'm going to look around. I mean, I think I can make 8 gauge work on the 10 gauge wire. So I don't need to hook them up right now anyway. But right now we're configured for 12 volts series parallel. And once we're running here, we'll reconfigure it to 24 volts, all in series. That is going to do it for now. Got the positive wires coming out of the circuit breaker. Run them along the ceiling, along with the negative wire. And I don't know how well you can see this. And it picks them up. And I bring them over to my transformer. I got the wires labeled positive and negative. 100 feet of that 10 gauge wire is about $50 now at Home Depot, so I can't afford buying different colored wire. So I just buy one spool and then mark it myself. There's no codes up here anyway. I've been putting this off for a while, but I got all these baby trees growing out back. So before they get any bigger, root systems, I'm out pulling them up. And then I got to finish spreading that pile of wood chips over this area here to control erosion. But a lot of these oak seedlings sprout up there, over there in the pile. And then these scrub pines just want to take everything over. So I'll pull all those up too. All those in here. And then spread the wood chips down so I don't lose any topsoil. So it's a nice day to do it. It's breezy. Sun is out. It's in the high 60s. Well, that's going to do it for this trip. I got about a quarter of the wood chip spread. Got about a quarter left in that pile. You can see the second solar panel there that my son helped me put up last time. So I made it out on the water for the first time and fixed the leaky canoe for the time being. I was able to run my 24-volt cable and install the circuit breaker and the transformer. And we had beautiful weather up here this week. So that will do it for now. If you enjoy the video, please give me a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel. So long for now, and be careful out there.